All right. Welcome back to the Shop Class Podcast. Tonight we got a big night. This is the AI episode. We got a roundtable of people that are going to help kind of shape what is happening. It's happening so fast that we really need a lot of people to jump in and tell us what's possible. I feel like this is the edge of something big, although it's kind of like what I call, when it comes to electric cars, it's like the slow moving tsunami. You can see it, it's huge, but it's still moving very slowly because not everybody's on board. Not that we need everybody on board, but it's just that it's moving slowly, but it is a big deal. So let's go around the room, brief intros, and then we're going to start with Elda. She's going to talk about how she uses coding and AI at the corporate level. Maybe she could give us some insight and then give us some advice on what she thinks the shop teachers should be doing. What should we be teaching, Elda? So let's start with let's roll around the room real quick. We got Elda. Elda, give a little quick intro about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I am a senior data scientist and AI lead for a synthetic intelligence company. And a lot of my work focuses on natural language processing. So specifically things like ChatGPT or similar models is where I specialize in. Yeah, I've been there for a while. Before that, I was at some larger places, Google, Meta, working on more marketing specific and related things. But mainly I am in the AI space.
Nice. Awesome, Elda. And do realize that you're probably going to go over my head at least tonight. So when you talk about language models and, tell us how it applies, so we're going to get into that. And then we got Yasa Evo. He's in the house, former student friend, and he works at Con Ed, and but he's really into the AI. You want to introduce and just say hi?
Hey, hi, everyone. So my name is Evo, and I work basically in the energy sector, and I'm mostly like a data analyst for my current role. But on the side, I do use basically ChatGPT and just I code for myself, and then I've experienced using Midjourney as well.
And if Evo wasn't busy enough, he used ChatGPT to help him create a coffee shop with his family. So they're building a whole gourmet coffee shop just for fun on the side. It's like, wow. We got Matt Bloomquist in the house, shop teacher extraordinaire. He's got some new stuff being launched out soon, the Build Science. Say hello, everybody.
Hello. Matt Bloomquist. I'm here in Ted, Illinois. Our class builds houses, and we put an emphasis on the high performance. And if anybody's listening, I'm not part of it, but I was helping share it. Same with, I'm sure, Connor. Go to the buildshownetwork.com. They just launched a Building Science 101 with Steve Basic, who's definitely a friend here of the podcast and stuff, and Matt Reisinger of the Build Show. And what's cool is teachers can you can snag that and have your students do it. So I'm sure Connor is probably on top of that one as well too. So us being in the building science realm and construction teaching realm. So yeah, I'm excited. I haven't done anything AI yet. So I'm ready to get all my lesson plans and everything done by AI like Noah. So let's learn.
Nice. And we'll talk about Building Science 101. And I think that AI will play a role in that in some way. I know you can do generative models. You can have them kind of create structures, believe it or not. So there's so much to do with AI. It's unbelievable. We also got Connor Malloy. How you doing?
I'm great. It's nice to see everybody. So my name is Connor Malloy. I'm a skilled trades teacher in Toronto, Ontario, which is Canada. And so we teach skill building and design, a bit of business management too, and project management. So far, we've only seen really AI being used by a couple of first-year students to write some pretty creative shop journals. This stuff is mind-blowing, the diction they can now use. But where I'd like to see us maybe integrate more AI into our program later is be able to take drawings and have them interpreted for the thermal performance. Right now, things like PHP, which is a tool for passive house modeling, is an Excel sheet. You physically translate a set of plans in an Excel sheet, it takes about 20 to 30 hours. That kind of analysis would be fantastic to have a program help us with and build more progressive homes. So that's me.
Nice, nice. And just for the audience out there, and also maybe for people coming into this, Elda and Evo, a lot of the people on the podcast are builders and they teach how to build. And what they're doing is performance houses. So energy efficient homes, stuff like that. And they call it a passive house. There's like a certain standard. And then the way you assemble a wall is not just like, doesn't matter. It matters. Like, and then how you control vapor and how you control heat and cold. So this is the stuff they specialize in. And I'm blown away by that because I come in from like the car world, We got Duke Lazowski, middle school shop teacher. How you doing?
What's going on? Yeah, we were on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, fooling around with the AI, and it blew my mind. So, think we can use it for some positive in education instead of, being sneaky about it. And there's probably the potential is probably far exceeding what we can even think about it right now.
Yeah,
So
amen to that, because it's kind of like the internet. The internet was like blocked in all the schools originally, and now they encourage it. So we, as progressive teachers, we gotta like be leaders in this space. So that's this is why we're getting all together. And Duke, you brought in Luke. How you doing?
Luke. Luke's an English teacher from the same school. We had some conversations about it. I thought he would be interested in jumping on the conversation.
Yeah, hello.
Nice.
Is this working?
Yeah.
Great. My name is Luke, and I'm an English teacher at the same school as Phil here. And I've been using AI, as he said, pretty much from the get-go. Even before the large language models were introduced, trying to keep the students up to date on what was available, using it in the classroom, but also cautioning them from the writer's perspective on both the ethical and the practical elements that they need to both be using and avoiding. So that's kind of why I'm here, I guess.
Yeah. In my school, all the kids are using ChatGPT, and the English teachers are having them write but with pencil by hand. And then I saw online there's a robot that now can write in pencil by hand using ChatGPT. So there's no way around it. We have to embrace it, or we're going to get steamrolled. It's funny, right? Okay. Noah Hughes. Noah's a second-year shop teacher. We actually interviewed him recently, and he's killing it. He's like rookie of the year. So he also builds houses. Very cool. They're doing a lot of off-site building and assembling. But Noah's jumping in. Wow, he's using ChatGPT, and he's also doing the image models. And we're going to do a demonstration tonight. How you doing, Noah?
Pretty good. Yeah. So I know just enough to be dangerous with any of this AI stuff. So second people start saying they work for Google and stuff, y'all can teach me a lot.
Well, we're all going to learn from each other tonight. We also have, we got Shar in the house. How you doing? Are you there?
Yeah. Hey guys. I'm Shar, and Ron knows like 8 o'clock is my bedtime and time for me to put my 4 kids in bed. But I wanted to drive by and see what I could learn. I am a traveling shop teacher, so I teach at many different schools for young people and adults as well, all over the country, as well as on TV and magazines and all of that. And I'm looking forward to meeting any of you who are coming to Makers Camp so that I can pick your brain on how I can get wood shops set up at my children's school, because they think that it's not a good idea to have a wood shop there. So I'm looking forward to chatting with those of you who are there. Nice to see everybody.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining in. Shar does exciting stuff. She's a hustler. She's crafty. She does a lot of stuff. So give her a follow. Check out. She's got a bunch of YouTubes and Instagrams, and then also she's been on some TV shows. I think This Old House. Were you on that?
Yeah, I was on This Old House twice. Ask This Old House. Harlem Globetrotters. A couple of other shows. Yeah. Follow me. Wooden Maven is my handle on Instagram if you're interested in connecting and hearing more about my journey.
And she couldn't be nicer. Like, she's awesome. So I'm so glad she's here. Very supportive and encouraging. We also got Roy. Roy's in the house. Roy does fine woodworking with his classes in Southern California. How you doing, Roy?
I'm doing really well. Yeah, I teach furniture making. To start off with single part projects. Then we move to doors and drawers inside boxes. Yeah, I haven't done this with kids. I've shown them. Usually we're just, I would Google some detail or something about it would be that I'm doing something. I'm explaining that we're doing this process because water and oil don't mix. And then a question would come up about like, well, doesn't the oil float to the top of the water, or doesn't the water in your gas tank stay on the top, or just some general statement. So I would Google that. And now I'm just asking ChatGPT and I can find a way better answer, or just kind of rewarding vocabulary quickly, right? So when students have that question, being able to have a concise answer that maybe is beyond my experience, and just showing them how to make the query so that they get the results that they would like.
The prompt engineer. That's a big deal. That's coming up. And Ethan's got his hand up. And let me just introduce one more person. We got Peter Molinaire representing another person from Canada. How you doing? Toronto, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, doing okay. You? Good to be here.
All right. Let's see. Okay. So pretty cool. All right, Evo, we got a question, and then we're going to jump to Elda, and she's going to kind of give us an overview of what she thinks of this whole thing. Oh, you're muted somehow. I don't know. You got to press the button.
Yeah, thank you. No, I was just gonna say that I think that like in general, AI is all around us. You know, your phone, even Google or etc. Is, I think what you guys are talking about is more like generative AI, is like the essentially models that can generate content, or the other trendy word, which is like large language model, which is LLMs. So I think it's important to like kind of differentiate, because like if you say AI, it's kind of like all around us. Yeah.
Okay, we got to define this stuff. Please do it. We are layman's here. I can't even believe I was able to operate the ChatGPT. I use it to help giving better, grammar and stuff like that. And, and also the image generation. I could show you, I can demonstrate tonight where Noah's probably going to run the image generation. We're going to run the models. We also got Damien from the land down under. He's coming from Australia. He's in tomorrow. So if you got questions about what the weather's like tomorrow, he already knows because he's there. Stock tips, stuff like that. How you doing, Damien? It's been a while.
Yeah, not too bad. Weather's crap. It's raining at the moment. But apart from that, I saw the stuff that you're going to do AI today, and I went, I've got to jump in because head of a technology faculty and I can't do crap with it. I've got two staff who use it, one who's very new to it, and so he uses it to create exams and lessons and all this sort of stuff, and one who's one of my IT people, and she says she uses it to get deep into the, like ChatGPT, to get deep into the stuff that she's trying to give better lessons for the kids. And I went, it just goes straight over my head when she's trying to explain it.
I gotta tell you, I think that some people in here already use ChatGPT. I'm gonna give an example of Evo real quick. He uses it to gain like almost like a conversation. Like he'll be like, okay, if you're gonna rent commercial real estate, what are the questions you should ask? So he helped me do that. And you just have a conversation with ChatGPT and it gives you great info. Not all of it's accurate, So believe it or not, some of it's literally just bouncing ideas with like the smartest person in the room because they have access to the internet and they're a computer, But so there's stuff like that, but then there's also these other things we're doing. Before we run out of time, let's jump over to Elda. Elda, you got the stage. you want to give us like an overview and what do you think the shop teachers should know about what you do with AI?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I'll start by acknowledging that, there are a lot of different opinions over this, some positive, like, yes, it's a personal assistant that you can use for a lot of different use cases. It's a great tool for most professions. And then there's the more negative opinions, like it is taking away work from artists and from other trades. And that can be a problem that, if gone ungoverned and unregulated, could turn into an even larger problem. So there are many perspectives. I think they're all valid. But I will say that the technology is not new. I think part of why we're having this conversation today and why it's become such a thing is in part marketing and in part because of just the amount of data. So we're talking about ChatGPT mainly, right? That is not new technology. GPT itself has been around for a few more years than since we've heard of it. But the novelty is that now it's using a lot more data and we have access to it. So it's using a lot of data that we see on the internet. And that's why no matter what you're working on, you can probably find an assistant in them. Something that helps results usually is by telling it, hey, you are an expert in X field. Help me do this or that.
Got it. It's interesting. Yeah, because to me, it's brand new, but I could see, we're on ChatGPT, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's got to be been around for a while. So how do you use it and what are you using it for?
Yeah, so probably very differently from how a few of you may use it. I don't use the chat function as much. OpenAI has made other things available that are very helpful in my work as a data scientist. For example, what underlies ChatGPT are the embeddings of text. And all that means is you take this knowledge from the internet, these words, these text-based documents, and then you convert them into numeric vectors. Based on that, you can create the chat function, you can create a lot of different things. My work is focused on civic intelligence, so I'll run different kinds of models, maybe using those same embeddings, or I can create my own. So that's how I'll use it. I'll take the underlying mathematical version of their data and use it to run my own things. Or, if I want something quicker and I need to use the chat function, I'll do that for things like, personally, maybe planning a trip or, writing an email or things like that. But sometimes if maybe I want to create a quick website or a portfolio or something like that, that's also possible.
So you're kind of like the person behind the person, like you're running the math behind the language. Is that right?
Exactly, yeah. Which is also the fun part, right? We don't think of language translated as math, but that's what we solve.
Oh, interesting. And when you say models, I think you're talking about like the structure of the math and how it.
No, I'm talking about Victoria's Secret models, of course. No, just kidding. Yeah, definitely. Models are anything that uses existing information to infer other information.
Okay. And wow, this is like far beyond me, over my head. But I could see that there's got to be something behind it. I mean, even if you're working on a car with an engine, someone did the math to figure out if that thing's going to work, and the temperatures and the lubricants and the, all the pieces that go together. So what was the, like, can you give us like a very layman's example of like a problem that you solved, and then maybe some advice on what do you think the shop teacher should be doing?
Yeah, I was going to show you a demo about how it might be useful in code, but I don't know if that will be very useful here. What do you think?
I think it'd be good because coding is huge in education. And I don't teach code, but there is a robotics teacher here, Mr. Fernandez. And then they do an autonomous robot. There's only a few minutes of that during competition. Most of it is just remote control. But I think that the next level for even this shop would be like an autonomous vehicle. Whether I like it or not, that's where we're headed. driving my Tesla around, that thing is autonomous when you want it to be. And so how does that even happen? Like, how does it know where the road is just looking at it? Tesla started out with radar and LiDAR and sound, and they've got rid of, from my understanding, they got rid of everything, and it's just vision. And so Elon, they're like, well, how does that work? And he's like, you have 2 eyes and 2 hands. That's the same thing we're doing, except we do it with code. And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, if you want to show us some code, I think that would be beneficial. Even if we don't get it right away, it's good to be exposed to it. As Duke would say, we're just kind of exposing ourselves to the picture of engineering, and we're trying out different tools. The kids get a chance to try something, and then maybe a couple years later you think about it. So yeah, so go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just show one of the ways that I might use GPT specifically. And I'll pull up a random script here, let's say from an existing public package. And I have this entire document in front of me, and I might need to understand some part of this code base. And one way I might use ChatGPT is I'll take a selection of code I want to understand. I'll click here and say, explain the code to me.
Oh, wait, super cool. I don't mean to interrupt, but you just took a piece of the code and now you're just going to get it explained to you?
Yeah, and
that right there was valuable. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah,
That's cool. So you can literally, because instead of it being a mystery, you're like, okay, well, what does that mean? This is a different language. Can I pull it out? And you're going to throw it in ChatGPT, and this thing's going to explain it?
Yes, exactly. So that's one use case, and it's very helpful. It can also help fix the code if there's any bugs in it. But here, for example, is the selection that I use, and it'll explain here to the side saying this code defines a method, it does this and this and this, and it'll go into detail. So that's one thing that I found useful.
Okay, I'm not exaggerating. That was really fast and impressive. That is very practical for a shop teacher, because I don't know code, but I would like to. And if I could quickly say, what is this? I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. This is an extension. It's called CodeGPT. There are a few other similar ones, but it uses the same technology.
Okay. Okay, Evo's got her hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say that on the topic of coding, and then since I think you have it too. You go to ChatGPT 4, and then you put the other plugins. I think you have the data analytics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that one is actually cool too, because you can tell ChatGPT, hey, write code for me, and because now it has a I forgot the word for it, but it essentially can test the code on ChatGPT, so you don't have to move the code to an editor and test that the code works. You can do it in the app itself.
Hey, Damien, was that helpful? Did you know you could just have like a code explained to you in like 1 second?
My computing teachers can't even explain what the code does for me. So, but that was just looking at it explained in layman's, like plain language at the side of the screen was excellent. And I can see if you're trying to say to a class, like, here's what we're going to use for a simple program, and you pull up this thing and it flicks it up on the side of the screen, and you can show to the kids, this is what this part of the code does. And it would help our kids get it a lot better rather than just playing around with blocks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool.
The second,
all right. Yeah, go ahead, Ella. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. The second use case I was going to mention was the one about creating websites, which could be useful to anybody that has an online presence. And I'll write something as simple as write an HTML script that I can download. Maybe I want to include some visual elements. I'll say include CSS components, which are the visual parts. And it'll very happily do that. So certainly. So it'll generate the code. There are things that I can replace, and of course, I can say specifically like use this text, but I'll copy the code there, and I'll just add it to a window. I'll save that file as an HTML. So let's add it somewhere here. Portfolio.html. And if I want to run that, I can go to the file, double click it, and there it is.
Wow, that was quick. You just created a website.
Yeah, I mean, you know, actually getting it online is a whole other process, but at least the creation part is made easy here.
You could code a website just by typing in, hey. Now, where did you start from? You said make a website that says about me. Is that what you did?
I didn't even tell it what to do. I just said, write a script. I can specify and say,
Oh, you put one line. Hey, write a script I can download. That was it?
Oh, probably Elda knows this more, but also ChatGPT, right? At the end, ultimately, it is just a model that is really good at knowing what's the next word. So if you tell him to write a website, if you go to school, you'll know that the first thing you ever do is do a hello world. But the hello world of the website is pretty much doing what that code is. So I think that's what it's generating, because that's it's based on it's just trying to predict the next word, right? So
Look, I gotta introduce to the room. We got Mark Willie in the house. How you doing?
Hi, Mark.
I'm enjoying this AI over dinner. I'm picturing my dessert being created before I even think about it.
Dude, let me just tell you what you just missed, because I feel like you got here right in time, but you only missed one.
Perfect. I'm all ears, Ron.
All right, check this out. Let's say you have a code, but you don't know what it is because you're not a coding teacher. You can grab the code, cut and paste it into ChatGPT and say explain, and it will explain it in words what the code means. So it's like having a coding expert over your shoulder the whole time. That was mind-blowing to me. I didn't know you could do that. And she's got the example up right there. So she grabbed that blue section right there, and it says explain, and then it just says, here's what it does. This code defines a method called, with a class. The method returns a dictionary containing this specific file, parameters of the model. Basically explains it. She picked something random. So, but like, I didn't know you could have code explained to you in English. I had no idea.
I'll tell you what, the first computers I used with Lotus in the 80s were the size of half a room. So it's nice to know that our telephones can make us boogie woogie.
There you go, man. Nice. All right, what else you got for us, Elda?
I mean, this was the second one that I mentioned. I said make it a portfolio website, and it looks a little nicer, and it has some more structure here. So it's kind of fun.
So ChatGPT just coded this website in like seconds.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Luke's got his hand up. Go ahead, Luke.
So I got a question for you. If you'll humor me and help me out here. So obviously, as an English teacher, when I ask ChatGPT or a similar model to produce an essay or to produce writing of some kind, the amount of sort of failures of the system to produce something that's recognizably English is pretty high, right? Your average, if you ask it to write a standard 5-paragraph essay, the number of times it's going to produce something of subhuman quality or even just outright wrong, it has a hallucination, it has some issue, is pretty common. In coding, a single unclosed parentheses or a single semicolon out of place and your entire code fails to function. So what does that look? Does that failure rate translate to what you do, or is there something where it's more efficient or more effective because of some yet unspoken issue? I'd love to hear what you have to say on that.
Yeah, we'll see the same amount of hallucinations in coding and probably a lot of other fields. There are some fail safes. You can say, double check this when you're done, make sure that there are no bugs, double check, make sure the context is relevant. But no, I mean, the nature of these models are that they're these general things, and that they're not people that know these fields. They're just kind of grabbing information from where they are. They don't know the truth. They don't know what's right. So they will always have hallucinations. And yeah, it's just that's why it'll never be able to like do any of our jobs and actually complete a project. It's more of just like poking around, assistance, brainstorming, and that's their nature. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no, for sure. And now this might just be my misunderstanding of it, but as far as I understand, the amount of data that it is trained on helps to eliminate errors of that kind. So the more exposure it has to a content area, the better it performs. Is that true?
Yeah.
To like certainly to an extent, right? There will be some sort of, sort of limit that it'll reach, right? Even if it had all of Wikipedia, it would still never be able to predict what's going to happen tomorrow, right? I mean, Onion News can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow, but it gets pretty darn close sometimes. And one would think, like with code, there's more code written probably than any other human language. Does access to more code than English or Arabic or Spanish give it any kind of advantage in that area?
I don't think so, and I'll use my experience. When I do my work and while I'm coding, what I'm doing is very specific to my company, to my use case, to my field, to my region, and it doesn't know that. So I'd have to give it a lot of proprietary information, which, with commercial licenses you can do, but it still doesn't know your business use cases, exactly what you're looking for. So that'll.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, thank you.
Like, I'll give you an example. When I use it to help write something, it's only because I want to go faster. I know I do like writing. Like, I did actually get into it. There's a time in your life where you don't want to do any writing, and then you kind of get into it for a little bit. But the thing is, it's about time. It's like it's an art form. So ChatGPT, if you put the whole thing in, my experience has been you put the whole thing in, it writes it in its own voice, and I don't want that. So what I did was I go paragraph at a time and I check it. And I'm like, that's a good suggestion. I feel like I just use it as like a person in the room. I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? And they're like, I would do it like this. I'm like, all right, I'll take that. So then I swap it, and that's kind of what I've been doing. It's a perfect timing because Luke's an English teacher and Marcos is, he's into maker spaces and he's into coding. And he's also into ChatGPT for English teachers. He's got some topics coming out about that. So Marcos, take a chance to say hi real quick. Oh, hit the unmute button. I can't do it from here. You got to do it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mr. G, for inviting me. Pleasure to meet you all. Just quick little background on myself. My name is Marcos Navas. I'm actually born and raised in West New York, where G has his shop class. Actually went to class in that shop class. So that's pretty wild, man. So a product of West New York, graduate of Memorial High School, went on to become an educator in a neighboring school district. I run technology for them and help teachers integrate tech. Right before the pandemic, I launched something called Hands-On Coding, which were actual physical blocks to teach coding with no internet or computer needed. What you do is put the blocks together, create an algorithm, and then you act out the algorithm. So you learn code through physical movement, through kinesthetic getting up and moving around and understanding it that way. Pandemic came, shut everything down. Right before launching Hands-On Coding, was very much into the maker world. I got into the world with 3D printing. Oh, thank you. Started 3D printing back in 2012, became an ambassador at Dremel and a couple other 3D companies. That led to the world of STEM. That led to Hands-On Coding. Also a Raspberry Pi certified educator, IDEO, design think expert. I'm also a TED Ed innovative educator. So I work with TED Talks, help kids put together their own TED Talks. So help them figure out and see problems in the world around them and then find solutions for those problems. like I said, launched hands-on coding, post-pandemic, relaunched, rebranded, launched something called Latinos in Coding this time around. Second largest language in the computer science space is Spanish. We are the most underrepresented group in the entire industry. So that's our mission. So we are here to, and we know that the future is all digital, it's all tech. We know in the year 2045, there's going to be a big shift in this country where the minorities of today will be of the majority. So there's a big shift coming. So got to get ready for that shift. So that's what Latinos in Coding is all about. And also into the metaverse and AI. AI as well has been a big topic lately. So getting ready to put out a ChatGPT prompt guidebook for educators to help them put together, use ChatGPT to help them with lesson planning and ideas, brainstorming, hands-on activities. And we also involved with a, believe it or not, a ChatGPT therapy bear. So it's an actual physical bear. Oh, I left it upstairs. An actual physical bear that has a Raspberry Pi inside of it, and has a chat and runs a ChatGPT software on it. Literally, we could put this in front of kids. A kid can talk to it. Listen, I'm feeling a little depressed today. It talks back and says, "Why are you feeling depressed? Here's some things that can help you out with it." If the child ever says anything that's a red flag, the software picks up that red flag, emails people right away to let them know, hey, there's something wrong here. So show you the extent of where we can go with ChatGPT and AI as far. I know a lot of people have fear about it. Oh my God. But if it's used for good, such as therapy, there's definitely a worthwhile investing into what it is if it can do good like that.
Interesting stuff. We need like the tough love New Yorker ChatGPT. Like, oh man, I don't feel like doing anything today. Hey, snap out of it.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. No, but that's cool, man. There's good stuff going on. Everybody's I feel like everybody in here is coming in from like an amazing different types of backgrounds. Mark Willie, you got your hand up. Go for it, man.
I wonder, since we're on the subject, if we could discuss a red flag. When the student says they're not taking shop class, can we have a red flag so we can have time to intervene?
That's an easy line of code we can throw into the chat to the bear and have it red flag anytime someone says no shop class.
Yeah, that's true. And, because they're, as we know, college is really heavily emphasized in all the high schools. And I always ask them, hey, even if you got a doctorate's degree in riding a bicycle, could you ride the bicycle if you've never ridden a bicycle? And they're like, no. I'm like, right. So you actually have to do something, whether you got a project, it's either a 3D project or a software project, doesn't matter. You need to do a project to actually see if your theory is going to work. So shop class for life for everyone just means applied, in my opinion, but these ChatGPT tools are going to help us, pretty cool stuff going on. So let's see. So let's go back to Elda and let's see. Do we have anything else that you think the shop teachers should know about? Because that opening out of the gate with that code interpretation to language blew my mind. So if you've any more hard hitting, just punch us in the face. Just give us something crazy, What do you got for us? You're on the spot. No.
Nah, no problem. I think it's a change of mentality, really. When you're having a problem with something, I don't know what the life of a shop teacher is like. I don't know, you guys do. But whenever there's some kind of issue or problem and you're struggling to figure it out, whether it's, tooling or materials or emailing or in whichever field, throwing a question to ChatGPT could be helpful. And I think that's a mindset that could, improve your work and get you more productive in general.
What's interesting, I think Evo should jump in on it. I appreciate that, Elda, because it sounds silly. Like, why would you talk to a computer? But Evo does it. He's looking at commercial real estate. Give me the top 10 biggest mistakes that a person would make when they're buying or leasing commercial real estate, because he got a coffee company now. And it spit back all this information. And so maybe that's something similar. You can also, if you haven't used ChatGPT, maybe someone here could pull it up and we could run some simulations. I think using it rather than talking about it, probably a good idea. Let's see. Which version of ChatGPT? We have a question from Shar. Which version of ChatGPT is everyone using? That's a great question. Like, where are we in the space? Because like I don't even understand. I just log into OpenAI and it just works. I don't know what version I'm on. I don't understand any of this stuff.
Yeah. So I think if you just opened up a regular account, without putting out a credit card of any sort, you're pretty much on the free version. So there are a couple limitations on the free version. One, you're limited to how many prompts you can ask. You do not have access to ChatGPT 4, or it's limited access to ChatGPT 4. And also, I think the free version is still actually I think they just announced it today that they're no longer bounded by a date and time. But from my understanding, ChatGPT 3, there was a date that it knew information up to, and I think that was like I want to say it was 2022, 21 maybe, but I think they just dropped that where it's now you can actually do a search where it's connected to Bing and all that other stuff. So 2021, yeah.
Nice.
The paid version, I mean, there's unlimited questions. I can upload a document. I can have it push out pictures. It's a little bit different. Also, depending on the time of day you're on the free version, you can get bumped out. It could be slow. When you're on the paid version, you don't see much or any of that at all, actually.
All right.
Can
the
paid version make your weekly football picks for you? Because the unpaid version does not.
That's funny. Oh,
Can you guys
Mark, what do you
see
think, man?
my
Oh, go ahead. Okay, wait. So Evo is going to use ChatGPT to give us some examples. Like, so we're going to enter some stuff in. Does anybody want to put in the chat over here? What do you want to enter in? You can just speak it if you want. Maybe Damien should go first, because I know it sounds crazy, but imagine you never ridden a bicycle. You're like, where's the handlebars? What are those? Where are the brakes? Like, you got to get used to doing it. So give us a question. Let's do it, Damien. What do you got?
Oh, geez. Well, just thinking of how my guys said they use it for lesson planning. Like, what about what's the best way to try and explain how to hold a handsaw or hold and use a handsaw? So I said my new staff member was using it to look up things for
hold a what? Sorry.
Handsaw.
Oh, handsaw.
Like a lesson, and make it a lesson for high school students. So he's typing it in, and you don't have to have it perfect when you type it in. That's the craziest thing about it.
So you guys aren't interested in making your kids act like they're a choo-choo train with a linear motion? Am I the only one doing that?
Choo-choo. Oh, there we go. All right. Damien, you want to read it and evaluate it for us? What do you think, man? Begin by explaining the importance of proper technique, safety, and efficiency. Display different types of handsaws, parts of the handsaws. Identify the handle, the grip, the blade, the teeth, the toe, the heel, the saw. Explain the design of the handle is meant to provide comfort and secure grip. Demonstration. It's all there, man. What do you think?
Yeah, apart from explaining every part of the saw, I mean, even this bit is what I do. So
Yeah.
and I've had to do that with brand new staff who obviously didn't get shown it at uni, or it's their first time in the subject area because they might have been a STEM teacher but never really been in the workshop.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Are you impressed?
yeah, that's good.
Isn't that
pretty
wild?
good. And quite honestly, that's just a straight up question. There's all these universities are racing to try to get educators for this new major everyone's trying to put out there, which is prompt engineering. It's literally the hottest major out there right now. But you guys just shot a straight direct question. There's so much you could have fed it before that. What type of kids are you teaching? Where is it located? What level are they at? I can even now say, all right, this is great. Can you turn this into a middle school level reading, and change it that way? So again, there's so much more you can feed it prior to even asking that question to even hone in even more to what your needs are.
Let's tweak it. Let's do it for should we change it, refine it for middle school kids? Elda's got her hand up. Go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in real quick and just I'm sure everybody knows to like double check these before they're using them, but mainly wanted to point out that this information is coming from somewhere, and it could have come from a post that's sarcastic and says the opposite things, but it's titled "How to Use a Handsaw," and it can give that information and get a kid hurt as well. So it's not like these aren't coming from a place where the model knows how to use a handsaw. They're coming from other people online. So dangerous things can happen too. Just some caution there.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. You always have to go through it, but it's interesting because it says, always remember with middle schoolers, the key is making learning interactive and fun. Duke, it's spot on, right? Oh, you unmute.
Oh, I was looking through there. Even the parts, there's not as many parts. They keep the parts simple for middle school kids. There's a Simon Says game, for crying out loud, he created. There's homework. Yeah. Play Simon Says with the saw grip.
Dude, he comes up with stuff,
There's a
and like
background.
It's taking it from somewhere. It's pretty wild. Okay, Damien, one more refinement. Would you like to add something or change something to this? You're stunned. That's what's going on.
It is, like I said, that the instructions through there, and even like when I was looking through this, it just reminded me that one of the staff had used it to say, like, it was a brand new topic she wanted to teach, and so she said, give me 6 lesson starters for this topic. And it was lots of little activities that they could possibly do to get the kids thinking in the right point, like mine for whatever topic she was going to be doing with them. And she even sat there and went through it on her phone, and I'm just sitting there going, I've got to come back to that when I've digested it a little bit more.
Damien, we should show ChatGPT the video you just did of trimming bushes and see if it learns from that.
Yes, don't climb a ladder with it.
Well, that was an Instagram thing, probably. Oh my God. So let's do this. Let's say ask ChatGPT, Evo, what would be the next machine that you think we should teach after the saw? Actually, give us a list of basic tools that are hand tools that every wood shop should have if they're in a construction, buildings, and trades program.
It's the longest question ever, Ron. My keyboard broke.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was changing it.
But
as I
it's a
said it.
list what?
Okay, list hand tools needed in a buildings and trades class. Yeah, that's it. Just do that, and let's see what happened. Oh, and make lessons for each one. And let's just see what happens. I don't know. Just to tweak this one, and then we're gonna move on to a new part of the, all the topics out here. But I just wanted to at least massage this one like 2 or 3 times. Certainly. Here's a list of basic hand tools, and then each one is going to have a lesson. Look at that. Boom. And it's just cranking. There it goes.
It would be great to ask, I've been assigned to be a shop teacher, but don't have a shop. What should I do?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that happens like
limited resources or whatever. So,
most of the shop teachers, all the shop classes got killed in the 90s, except for this one and a few others, just a handful in each county. And so, like, what do you do if you're in a library, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about this? How do you teach buildings and trades in a library with limited resources, but you need a hands-on project?
We needed this during the shutdown.
Dude.
Wait, how to teach building and trade?
Yeah.
With limited
resources in a library instead of a workshop.
Could you not just ask people to go into their dad's garage, grab some, anything off the wall? Was that not,
that wasn't an option for me. It's an urban neighborhood here.
The coolest
No garage.
home lesson I saw was someone I know that teaches woodshop had the students label their panel, their breaker.
Oh.
That was about the only assignment I saw that I thought was like, oh, that was really, and I don't even know where he got it. Might have just been outside.
I'm gonna brag for a second. I challenged a friend of mine, an engineer, to make to do a voltmeter with no money. And he came up with this. Anyway, that's a separate topic. He came up with something. It was crazy. We made something, a galvanometer meter out of like popsicle sticks. It was nuts. It worked. Anyway, yeah, dude, you could totally do it. You just got to challenge it,
Yeah, I think I don't know if you guys noticed, but one of the things that works for me, especially when I don't know what I'm doing, is that I reverse engineer the problem, right? So here, right, how do I teach build and trade with limited resources in the library instead of a workshop? But ChatGPT doesn't know your limitations, right? So you can ask him like, hey, ask me clarifying questions so I can get to my goal. So here it would tell you some of the questions that he will ask in order to clarify, and then you can literally just copy, paste, and then you will write the answers to each of these questions, and then it would tailor the answer better.
Okay, I think there's something key here that Evo did because he uses it a lot successfully for his business, for his own personal. And that question was, I just want to reiterate, is that he asked ChatGPT to ask questions to clarify my goal. So now you're getting a list of what the computer needs that you need to do. I mean, I know I'm saying what he said, but I think it's super important to emphasize that. So you can just have that back and forth. I think the mistake that people make is they use it once and they're like, this didn't work. And then they throw it away, It's not like that. You have to have this rapport going with the prompt. That's why they call it a prompt engineer, because you need to work on it. Pretty cool. Elda, anything we're missing? What do you think? I mean, I caught clearly this is just an overview.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to use this. That's a great example of doing that. Other things you can do is make sure that it hones in on a specific area. So you give it a persona first. You'll say, hey, you are an expert material scientist, or you are an expert shop teacher, and it'll kind of focus on that part of information. Other things are if you're working on more technical problems, you can tell it, you need to give it time to think. So say, work on this step by step, show me your thought process, ask questions like Evo said. And yeah, I will say though, it can definitely be a lot more powerful outside of the chat function. So if you want to do things more, Evo mentioned fine tuning. That's what happens when you want, instead of it knowing just a general everything about the world, you can have it be an expert in just one thing and create that model separately, though that'll need some more coding experience. And there are courses online that can help you do that too. So possibilities.
I am gonna share crap. Let me stop presenting.
And Elda, I know you're short on time, so let us know whenever you have to go. It's okay.
Oh, actually, yeah, I have to go right now. Sorry, but it was so nice to meet everybody. Thanks for having me on. Anybody can reach out about anything. Ron can share my information, or you can just look me up online.
Awesome. Elda, thanks so much for joining. That was awesome.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Okay, see you.
I just want to add also the idea that you can tell ChatGPT to take a tone or a mood even. So even like the answers you got there, you can say, hey, I want this to be a little bit more humorous for kids. Can you change it up to be a little bit more humorous? Can
Dude,
yeah.
Marcus, I don't mean to interrupt. Before I forget, it will write jokes, by the way, people.
Yep.
You can ask it to be funny and it will write jokes. And you're like, that's actually not bad. Like,
yeah, so just real quick, and just to let you know, with Latinos in Coding, when we launched that, we wanted to create a jingle, like just a little jingle, to play in the background. So Latinos in Coding, I said, listen, pretend you're Bad Bunny and create a jingle for Latinos in Coding. It created a whole rap song for me. And then I even said, all right, give me a beat that will go in the background of this. Gave me a beat for it. And then when you actually hear the lyrics, it sounds like a Bad Bunny song. It really does.
wow.
So again, we were able to
Wait, it'll write music?
Oh, absolutely. It can actually probably write scores if you ask it to.
What?
After you ask it to do that, is it your song then, or how?
Yeah,
does
well,
the
that's the big controversy now, and I think some states are actually passing laws about how if content that's created through AI can it be claimed as yours? And some states are already saying no, it can't be. So eventually, what you will see, we're living in the age of what's real, REEL, and what's REAL. So eventually, at least for education, there's going to be a point where you have to literally prove that you did it. So, for example, for kids writing a paper, there will be a time where there'll be an NFT that you need to turn on when you're about to write your paper and it records your keystrokes. So now when you turn in your paper, you're turning in your paper and the actual keystrokes that you used to write that paper. It's proof that I did this, not an AI machine.
God.
That would have probably got me kicked out of college.
Oh my God, man. I mean, this is a long way from me sitting in the back of the class. I was just drawing cards. Now they got
Ron, we needed to make the Shop Class podcast theme song.
Can you guys see my screen now?
Good idea. Yeah, we see your screen.
All right.
Yeah,
So
in the theme of Corvette Summer.
We're gonna get
but
to images. Sorry, Evo. We're gonna do the images. This is just part one of tonight's topics. We've been talking about language models and coding and music now, and whatever he's about to show me. But we're gonna get into images soon, and we're gonna do examples. So go ahead, Evo. Oh, go ahead, Evo. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. Yeah. So this is a kind of to what where Elda left off, which is something instead of using the chat version, I'm using the API. And then for those who are not,
I don't think you might not be sharing the right screen. You're sharing. We're seeing the chat, the group video right now. What are you trying to show?
You guys don't see. Yeah, that's weird.
Oh, okay. So just share a tab or a win or like exactly what you want to share. You'll have a list when you go to the when you go here. It'll say.
Oh, okay. I see now. So I was sharing now. You can see it.
Let's see. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
There's a list.
Yes. So basically, this is so coming back to all this what Elder was saying, right? Aside from the chatting, you can use the API, right? So if you go to
wait. What's API?
Yeah. So an API is a application programming. I even forgot what it stands for.
But basically, you can run ChatGPT in the background of a website. Is that right?
So API is like an application programming interface, and the best analogy that has worked for me at explaining it is like you can think of an API like a restaurant server. So when you go to the restaurant, you go and you order a burger, then that server takes that request and then it takes it to the kitchen, and then the kitchen cooks the meal, and then the server brings it back to you. So in software, essentially the API is the server, your request is your food, and then the kitchen is kind of like the back end. So everything that happens in the back end then is returned to you. So if you go to OpenAI and then you put API, then it will tell you a bunch of stuff that you can use for like how do you utilize the API essentially, and it has documentation, like extensive documentation on how you can use it. For example, the embeddings, which is something that Alden mentioned, it kind of teaches you how to use the embeddings. But anyways, to the actual real world, right? So as Ron was saying, I was trying to open the coffee business, and there was this expo in, I think, in Portland that I really wanted to go. You know, there was some issues and I couldn't go. But now I really want to know everyone that went, and I want an explanation, right? So if I had to do that, I have to go to the exhibitor infos, and I have to check each exhibition, and I have to read each exhibition, right? And then as you can guess, this can take a lot of time. And so what people do is they sometimes is known as scraping, where you can scrape the data out of websites. And this is my disclaimer: the data technically doesn't belong to you, so you have to read the website's like usage to know if you're allowed or not allowed to scrape the data. So let's pretend I am allowed to do this. But essentially, I had over 557 booths that were to that event. And if I wanted to read about them, I had to extract the data for each. And if I want to scrape the data, then I have to go to spec, and then you have to learn how to scrape, which is when you get into the HTML, and then you know how to extract the data. Obviously, this was getting very complicated, and I was like, what if I just grab this chunk of data and I tell the AI like break it down into an Excel form, and voila, this technically it did it for me. So I just loop over each of the websites, and essentially got me the company name, the booth number, the link, the location, the company name, like some of the descriptions, and even it categorized it for me. And at first I was like, this is going to be insanely expensive, because I was like, I'm looping through a bunch of data. It only cost me like $2. So
wait, just to back up. So every time you ask for a request, it charges you if you're doing API, which is like a professional thing. And then also, I'm just trying to put it into like layman's terms for me, which I assume that other people might be thinking the same thing. And then also, you did not put these in the Excel sheet. You asked it to do it based on the booth number, and it did that for you. It did all this for you.
So partially, that's partially accurate. So let me see if I can open.
So basically, it's creating the code and grabbing it from a list and then populating a list for you. So it's like a monotonous task that you could then automate. Is that right?
Yeah. So the first thing that I did essentially was is it this one? Scraping.
And then keep in mind, like, you know, it's all layman's in here, because I don't think anybody here is. I mean, some people, I'm not going to speak for them, but this is like beginner code stuff. So
yeah, so the first thing I did is that just like libraries that you use in Python. I mean, not to get very simple, I guess. Essentially, what the first thing I did is that I download all the websites, and that one I can use, like I can just scrape it from the website, no problem. That was like super easy. The difficult part was that every time I loop over these sites, the content or the HTML code changes. So every time I was getting blocked, essentially, because there's a new way that the website looks. So to give you an example, see, this one is not the same as this one.
oh,
You see how this one This one doesn't even so this one has only one paragraph. This one has like a whole content. This one doesn't
But
have
it somehow
anything.
adapted and got it anyway.
Yeah, because you're telling essentially the model, like you're telling the model, hey, I'm gonna give you a chunk of data, and I want you to extract the data for me. And if it doesn't find anything, then so here was the code essentially to extract the websites, and then once I loop over, I extract each website. Then the last part was the
Well,
um
Evo,
yeah.
let me just hit pause for a second. This is amazing, but this is like might be far beyond what.
Oh
what
yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
doing.
No, I was just
Yeah.
trying to say that there's other ways that aside from the chat that you can utilize essentially OpenAI API.
Yep.
So, but to the last thing I'm gonna leave it on. This is the code essentially. So you're still using prompts. So my prompt essentially was like, oh, extract the name, location, URL, and create one sentence summary for the text. And in the API, there's ways that you can give it examples. So I give it an example. I give it the format of the example that I'm using, and then I'm telling it what I need. And then this is what is extracting essentially. After it downloads this data, then I create a different code essentially to transform the data into an Excel file. But that's it's not an API. That's just me.
All right. We gotta. I think that I understand. It was able to adapt. I think is first of all, the whole thing's impressive that you even knew this was possible, and then the second part is that even when the code changed, the computer knew how to adapt because you gave it a task, and it had to adapt to the code. Is that right?
Correct. You had to adapt to the HTML because at this point, yeah.
That's incredible. That's amazing. Amazing example. We got a hand up from Luke. What do you got, Luke?
Is this the same type of data scrubbing that happens when I'm having a conversation about corn dogs and then 5 minutes later on my Instagram feed I get a corn dog ad? Like, is that? I know it sounds like I'm joking, but I'm dead serious. Is that like the type of data collection an algorithm finds that,
Luke,
applies it,
it's
says
the
I'm now
alien.
going to.
No.
The alien that
That's different though. So that type of AI is called recommender systems, and then that's those type of models essentially specialize on what you're describing. Whether you give it a set of data or like a set of the data set essentially is what people likes, and then they try to find similarities, and that's so like you doing like you said, like a corn dog. Then the model essentially would be like, oh, this guy likes corn dogs, and then it would dump you with all these advertisements on corn dog. But that's a very high level though. I don't do that type of stuff. I like to crunch numbers. I'm very good at crunching numbers.
So it's essentially just an entirely different type of model, right?
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And I do apologize for everybody who will now be receiving corn dog advertisements for the next week.
Keep in mind, Evo does this just for fun because he's opening a coffee shop. Roy, what do you got?
So I have I've got no evidence for this, but there's this one chemistry teacher that all of my students pass, and he's just fun like you guys, and he makes up scenarios for the labs, and they're kind of absurd, right? It's a wood shop teacher, a shop teacher teaching chemistry, and so we're gonna lose that teacher, and I think that it's someone's fault. I take the data from my kid's transcript, I put it in there. Could I use what Evo just showed us? Could I use my kids to show evidence that my kids disproportionately pass this class? Does that make sense?
Oh,
wait, one more time.
Because that would be awesome. So there's a teacher, and he came up with a video game
Sean,
that is all of
coming in. Sorry
chemistry.
about that. Thanks for coming. We didn't even get to the images yet.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So with
You
how
should
you
jump
wrote
ahead to images.
the query, or how you had a set of data, right? The data was booth location, vendor name, website, phone number, contact, right? So if I had student name, transcript information, physical science, and I've got the list of my kids, could I figure out how many of my kids passed that teacher? Because I can get the data for the last 7 years, right? We got hired at the same time. And when he teaches, a lab on, algebra 2, or things, how radioactive material decays, it's fallout, and there's been a nuclear bomb, and it's just boys are going to hook into the doom and gloom and the hazmat, and so they just do well in his course. I was just wondering, like, could I do that? If so, I got this link for the NLP, creating the, and then I saw how you were able to, using that code. If I had my own data set, is that something I could plug into it?
I mean, if I'm gonna put my email on the chat, and then maybe we can chat later, because I'm not quite sure though what your goal is essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm open to hear more, and I could certainly try to help offline, because I know some of you guys want to do the image stuff.
And Roy, there was an echo, and that's the only reason I muted you. Sorry about that. You can unmute anytime. Okay, so code is deep. Okay, but in the interest of time, we only got 45 minutes left. We're going to jump over to the Luke wants to jump. Let me see. Did Luke want to say something? Luke going to chime in at yells for. Okay, go ahead, Luke. Go ahead if you want to add something real quick. But then we're going to jump into the image generation, which is kind of cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I'd love to be the bridge, because I don't have the same type of pedigree that everybody else here has. I'm a fairly new teacher, and I'm in the artsy fartsy category of stuff, right? ELA, and then am an artist in my spare time, and obviously the ethical and philosophical concerns are like my primary element of how I'm involved in this, why I'm so outspoken about it with my school, why I worked so hard to push for my administrator to send a instructional pamphlet to the teachers on how to recognize AI plagiarism and how to work with it, and work with their students. Like, this is something I'm very passionate about, but it's from the highest level, not the lowest, not the most deep level. I'm a user in the truest sense. And part of the reason why I think this has become so frightening, and why it's entered our lexicon, why we're all talking about it, is because these language models have just recently encroached upon a world which, up to this point, had been deemed entirely too human to be broached, right? Up until recently, people said you can't speak or create art like a human. Robots can't do that, not for 100 years. And then it was the next thing that happened. So it's crossed this uncanny valley and shot by it. So here we all are in shock as the shock wave is still passing us. So from the ELA perspective, from the writer's perspective, the person who is least expected to have to deal with this, we're now in damage control, right? And we're either adapting to it or on the bleeding edge of it, right? There's nobody who's behind, right? Because you're not going to be teaching long if you're not ahead of this.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, so what I wanted to look at was specifically how this language stuff is coming across into the ELA classroom, and how we're writing about it now. You already talked about talking to the machine, right? And using it as something to as like a buddy. This is what happened over the summer. Last year, I had my students bring in their phones so they could use ChatGPT and Snap AI to write. And over the summer, this happened. The Quizlet program introduced a feature called QChat, which is exactly what you were saying. This is an AI that's built into their study sets that they can just talk to. So it says, hey, what's the meaning of the word mutation that's on their study set? You can say it means cookies, and it'll correct you and talk to you, and you can have a conversation with it as a study buddy.
Cool.
It tells you, oh, you mentioned mutation. What form of that?
Interesting.
Um,
Okay, so let me just interrupt for a second here, Luke. This is really good. It seems like this is not a big enough episode for just one night. I 100%, I forgive me. I'm asking you to table this for a sec because we have image generation that I think people be interested in. The reason why is because mostly this is buildings and trades. And so imagine if you could imagine what you're going to build by getting these images, and then it helps. Like I used it with my students today. It helps with iteration. So you're 100%, Luke, on the right path. You got the right questions, but we're going to just hit pause on that because we spent the first part on coding and frontline language models, and it's huge. This is a big topic. So let's do another one. And will you come back to another episode, Luke? Perfect. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. Okay, so we got Noah in the house. He is ready to go, and he's going to share his screen, and he's going to show us image. We're going to do image just like ChatGPT, but I'll just do a little intro while he's getting ready, and I'll show you one thing real quick. What I did was we're building a trailer with my students, and this is not live. This is just my downloaded photos right now. So I'm building a trailer, and the trailer is going to have it's a 4x8, and it's going to be foldable. It might have music. It might be made out of wood. It might have a DJ or a rock band. And if you look at this thing, and we're going to put solar on top. If you look at this,
my bad. I accidentally hit 10 as you were talking, and it loaded up my screen.
Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. Let me just go back for a sec.
Here you go.
Okay, perfect. Let me see how to, okay. Resume. Okay, there we go. No, it's all good. So if you look at this thing, like these are some ideas, and obviously it's AI, so it's like crazy. Like, what is this? Like we're not going to put solar panels on the bottom there, but it makes mistakes. Like here's double axle, you're just going to go in a circle cart. You know what I mean? It's like ridiculous. But this is the type of stuff that you can do. And we did this in like 10 minutes. Like just imagine this much generation of ideas in literally 10 minutes. Like that's crazy. So
I really want to see you make a trailer with wheels going with perpendicular axles. It might be a form of travel we haven't experienced yet, right? Our brains are just a little bit small to understand how that would work. So hang tight, Ron.
So what you can make exactly. It's AI, it's a computer, it doesn't really know what's going on. So I'm gonna get out of the way, and we're gonna actually do some live generation of images, and then we could take requests. Also I should shout out Angie's in the house. She's an art teacher. She teaches CAD and whatnot, and she uses AI for something similar, image generation. Say hi, Angie. You there?
Hi, everyone.
Okay. All right. Give it a shot. No, it's all yours.
All right. I don't use it. I honestly just started using more of this. I used it initially, like with lesson plans and stuff, because I think it just you can create funny photos, you can create crazy stuff, images and stuff like that. And I just more have fun with it. So a lot of people that are in here doing crazy stuff with ChatGPT and everything like that, I'm having fun with this thing. So somebody can put in like what they want an image of, like you can drop it into the chat and then we can generate it. Or if somebody needs something, and I'll show you, like, as you go down here, like these are just different ones that we've created. Anytime it says like like not safe for work or whatever. It detects anything that's like I think a face. That basically it loads that up. But yeah, like I tried to get it to create like a realistic logo of Hammers Crossing, and then obviously it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't do a great job, sometimes it does an incredible job.
Okay, can you do, let's see.
But
okay, there you go. He
So-
needs a building trades logo.
So here's the thing. So just like y'all click on this, and then just like ChatGPT has different information you can input into it, and then it outputs other information, like basically in relation to what you put in. Like it has, you can see along the top here, like different things it can create. And so it'll be like, you know, different models that these are ones that people have come up with. And so like if you wanted, like I haven't used this to like if it's, let me see, like in illustration, like this would probably be a better one for like a logo. So
Here you go. Noah, check the chat. He's got something for you.
yeah, I'm typing Matt's request.
Yeah, and it's Taylorville, Illinois, so it's got a tornado is their like high school logo. But imagine if it's a tornado that builds houses. That would be like not good. I guess let's just see what happens, you know. Student built, right?
It's kind of ironic to think, right? We're the tornadoes, but we're talking about building houses, which typically is actually, you know, tornadoes create opportunities to build houses.
True.
We'll do this one, and then we'll throw in the tornado.
All right, here we go.
Which the tornado does not be part of it.
And you can do, like I got better about, you can input stuff into like prompt generators or use ChatGPT to come up with better prompts to tell better information. And right now, usually during the nighttime, it runs a little bit slower.
Okay.
All depends on what time during the day you're running it. But I haven't had a whole lot of luck with creating logos. The funny thing is whenever you try to get it to type words, so you can create you can create something, but then can I take that and then customize it? And then that's what apparently Leonardo has, except for the fact that it, like, so you can see here, like this is whatever gibberish, like, or another language or something like that, that basically it can't do words. But how do I take this and then turn it into a logo? Like, is the goal of this to be able to give to a graphic designer and then they take it from there? You know, it can't just spit.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is the starting point. And from my understanding, you grab, let's say, the one you like, which I like the one on the right with multiple houses, because that's what Bloomquest does. And then imagine if you add in, can you modify this and say student built?
Yes, there is a way to do it. And I have been working on trying to get that. I use this on my phone.
That's
and
okay.
basically there's like the web version, you can modify stuff and change stuff. That's why I was hoping you were going to be like, hey, we're going to move the photo portion to next week, and then I could figure it out. But
Oh, no. We'll just play around. We're all learning anyway. It's a casual night. But let me just say this. Luke's got his hand up, but 1 second. Damien asked a very practical question. What is this? It's a website? Leonardo? What is this thing?
yeah. So basically, there's what's the one that you use on Discord?
Okay, I use Midjourney, but it's
Okay.
similar to this. I mean, all you're doing is putting in like a bunch of sentences and some words, and then you just hit go.
Yeah,
And then you like.
it's AI software that basically you can access. I have the reason I like because Midjourney, they don't have an app for their phone that you use Discord, and then I could never find the pictures like as far as user friendliness. And then, but Leonardo, it basically has its own app. And how I use it is basically if I need a picture of something real fast for a lesson, or if I want to do something, whatever it is, come up with ideas. And it's basically just kind of almost exploratory at this point.
Let's go back, Luke. If you just hang on 1 more second, let's go back to Matt for a second. Matt, do you want to change the prompt at all? Can you see the prompt on the top? can you add or change a word that to your liking?
I'm also gonna change the model, but what we can add more stuff to it.
What do you think, Blue? Is he thinking about it? I can't. Let me see. Matt, can you hear me?
Can you? Sorry, I didn't turn
Oh,
my mic
okay.
on. Yeah. Can you like tell it not to use lettering and stuff? Like,
Okay.
can it just be
yeah.
pictorial? And then so our colors are gold. So can you like specify colors to use?
I think so. I think you can. Luke, is it a question something about this? Okay, go ahead, Luke. What do you got while they're generating that?
So when I've used this type of stuff before, one of the things that these programs sometimes have is where you can save an image or use one of their outputs as a base image, and then you basically select the portions that you want to keep or the portions that you want to modify, and then it will then reapply its algorithm and your prompt to only that portion. So you might use your favorite one there as a base image, and then you'd say, hey, I like this part of it, but I don't like this part. Can you change it? Right? So you could highlight those words and be like, replace the words with 2 crossed hammers, right? And then that way you get to keep the best parts and remove the worst parts. And you don't get what happened there, which is just a bunch of houses.
See, this is, and I clicked on a different style, and I think if I get this back, see, the problem is we were hoping to have Midjourney on here, which that you can use. You can basically kind of modify images and kind of dial it in, keep on dialing in, and I know you can do it on this. It's just I can do more stuff I think on my phone, but apparently the capabilities it's like I don't know what they call it. It's like basically a playground on this thing, to where you take this image, and if you want like the background to be different, you just take out the background like with an eraser real quick, and then tell it to change it, and it adds it, or change this, change that, and you can keep on dialing them in.
I think you're doing great, man. I think we should let Matt have another shot at it and let him make the changes. I'm
gonna generate a different model,
and then Mark Willie, what do you got? Go.
I was going to say, no, I know you didn't make it out to Taylorville. We missed you. But the funny thing about that house you just showed, that's the exact house Matt's students made last year. I can't believe that's really neat. I don't know how you did it. No, it was pretty incredible.
I especially like the one that's floating on the left.
Well, that's
maybe
the one they didn't build.
Maybe we're too small.
I get it.
I like adding, I like playing with the prompt. Oh, wow.
See, like this one on the right, like, see, this is, I've never created a logo on this. It's mostly, I use it for images, so the models would be different. But I think the one on the right, like if you could take this and then somehow keep on modifying it, you could eventually come up with something pretty cool.
Dude, can you do that again, except simplify it? Just add the word simplify.
I wanted,
because this is actually really good. This is turning into a logo. It's just that, look, there's even T-studs on the bottom there.
That's where the problem begins.
This is awesome, dude. Okay, Matt, give some direction, man. Tell Noah what to do here.
Oh man, I was gonna throw out a whole different thing, but
try something else. Who cares? Send the rendering from Emily over and make it off of that, Matt.
I can keep on. I'm going to generate another one by adding keep it simple. But you just send me over stuff, and I can add it in. We can be totally different.
So kind of. Does it pull anything off the web? If say create a new logo for Build, Learn, Teach, would it find me?
So
and my logo, try to redesign.
It uses
or is this totally pull up stuff from whatever you just tell it.
So this one pulls
because I like whenever you're doing the pulling.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Noah.
This one pulls from public images.
So from my understanding, I think what you guys are asking is, can you use an existing image and modify it? And I think the answer is yes. We just don't
Oh,
know how
yeah,
to.
yeah. I can upload an image if you have an image.
That one with the T
Oh, gotcha.
on
Yeah,
the right,
send over
man.
to-
That's pretty cool, actually.
Which one?
Yeah, that's kind
The
of like
one on
starting
the
to
right
get
with
somewhere. I
the
mean,
T for Taylorville.
yeah, that's starting to look like a logo, right? Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
simplify. The
like-
word simplify worked.
Yeah, it's like a lot of the craziness out of the house design that they have on there.
These are great, man. These are super cool. Duke, what do you think, man?
And you upload images you want to use for like a base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll take that image and then you can basically specify like what you want from that image and different things. So let me get Matt's logo.
Okay.
Couldn't you take like a pencil version that you drew?
I think you
I
can.
mean, it's an image.
Noah,
I gotta figure out how to get.
okay, Noah, can you do this while you're looking for it? Let's run the generator again. Except, Mark Willie, change 1 or 2 words in the prompt, and we'll run it again. But only change 1 or 2 words.
I would just add the word, instead of simple, add the word keep it high school. Keep it like high school.
Oh, okay. High school theme.
Yep.
Okay, Noah, can you switch that and then run it, and then you can go look for. There we go.
We have a filter of where we've been and where we are and what we're planning, but this should have a filter as to what high school students are about.
True. Yeah. And then I'd like to see. These are. It's going, but like sometimes it's faster than this. I'd like to see what it comes up with for building science. That'd be kind of interesting.
I'd like to see if it can Google above Ron's house.
Oh, here we go. Dude. These aren't bad.
Yeah, but they're a little bit too
that one on
detailed.
the far right. The one on the far right is killer. If that said Taylorville High School, I'd go back to school.
That's a lot of detail there for a logo.
I'm gonna jump in and add to you guys. So you all say a lot of detail. This is an opportunity for students to learn vocabulary when you're doing prompts, and you could say something like a flat graphic image, something like, or 2 colors. Be a little more specific. So while we're arguing that AI is preventing kids from learning or they're cheating, maybe they just need to learn a little better vocabulary to add prompts. So
what else should we put in there?
Flat image.
So flat graphic image, keep it 2 colors.
Yeah, and see what it comes up with there. And then you guys are talking about, is this something I would pass on to a professional at that point? Maybe. Maybe you would give it to them and they would produce a vector graphic from that.
That was awesome. Angie's got some graphic experience and she brought that to the table. I appreciate that. That's really good.
It's a good reminder that language is powerful, right? Like, because we're shielding our language versus making it more precise.
Interesting. Yeah, that was interesting.
The funny thing is like anything with builds, like you get mad at people for when they're like, I can't believe the customer said this. Like they want lines in their windows. What the hell are they talking about? Meanwhile, we're doing the same thing.
I'll tell you, every time the image on the far right is the one that's the winner every time.
Dude, these are great. Can you, Matt, you want to pick one that you like? And he can download it and send it to you.
Well, I mean, these are cool. It's not really what I was going for, but I just was interested to see what pops up. Like, actually, I'm going for
it, man. Change the prompt. What do you need to do? Like, fix the prompt.
I have no idea. Like I said, this is the first time. Like Angie made a good point. This is one of those things. Like you really have to learn to talk to it, right? I mean, it'd just be like talking to any other designer or say an architect, like when you're trying to communicate what you want in a house, or you know, when you're talking to a logo designer, you in our head we have this image, even if it's not clear, right? But it's kind of like, oh, I'll know it when I see it, right? That's where I'm at with this logo. Like, I cannot tell you what it looks like, but I'll know it when I see it. But I think this is cool, and I think you can start getting your head wrapped around how if you sat here and kept playing with it and talking it to it differently, and like I said, Angie made a good point that it's kind of a good exercise where you just like we'd be talking to a designer or architect to build or design your house. You know, you're trying to get this across. Now, the other thing too is something you do when it comes to design, and if Connor is still on here, this would be right in his wheelhouse. Because of his design background, you have like people, if you're on Pinterest, you have your Pinterest boards, you have your idea board, your inspiration boards. That's the thing I'm looking for. So you're almost trying to give this thing an inspiration board, see what it would pull up. So does it have that function? I know we're trying to tell it our inspiration, and we can obviously upload an image, but how many images can you upload? Can you, what can you do to give that inspiration board come up with designs that feel that whatever it may be and stuff.
Cool.
Does it sound like a homework?
And I think the way
Go ahead, Andy. Go ahead.
I think the way that sorry, you're good.
That sounds like a homework assignment for everyone. You play around with the program, make something happen.
Well, we're live right now, so we're doing it. No, what do
I
you
think
got?
the way you use it too is like I mean, I don't know. I think you can get ideas for this, but okay, like if you were trying to explain a crazy concept, or something that's like it's building or something with cars, for example, and you were trying to almost exaggerate something to prove a point. This I can create an image with, and so those students can more easily grasp it. Whereas it's going to take me forever to search what I'm trying to explain online and things like that. Like the students will remember if I'm talking about like we're doing this house build, and we have all the houses in the neighborhood, and we were talking about that, and I was saying how I don't want our house to look different, and so I had a really tiny house next to huge houses. So those students saw, okay, well it's ridiculous picture, but they can grasp that concept. Or I'm sure there's car related stuff. So that's how I use it. And I don't know if you maybe like, maybe somebody would be able to use this and get ideas for logos and different things, but
yeah.
I have use cases too, Noah. If you don't mind me, I can share my use cases.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Go for it, man. With image generation, Evo?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All right. No, you want to just generate a few more, and in the meantime.
Oh, I took over. I'm so sorry. I thought that.
No, you're good.
All right, you guys can see my screen then.
Yeah, you're showing us right now.
Okay, so.
Oh, there we go.
I do like your version. What is it called? I forgot the name. Alejandro or. I like that one better because in Midjourney, like you have to go to the settings essentially.
Oh, Leonardo is the name of the.
Leonardo, thank you. Yeah, so here you have to go to the settings, and you have to modify the settings to get what you want. So I think that Leonardo's like cleaner in that way. But here's some stuff that I use it for. So if I needed a logo for my company. So I think some of you guys mentioned that the style is important. So like I put the style of a person, with white background, and I tried different styles, and so that's stuff that I use it for. I had my coffee shop before, before I guess like I started putting any furniture, and then there's this method that Midjourney has. It's called blend, so you can give it like 2 images. So
oh, this is cool. This is exactly what we were asking about. Can you blend an image and
yeah, so let's say I use this and then this image. So then and then press enter, and then it will start blending the photos. So what I did is that I looked for coffee shops that I liked, and then I took a picture of my raw establishment, like just clean, and then it would merge it, and then some of the pictures that it would come up, and it was good because it gave me ideas of how to utilize my space.
Wow,
Um,
that's really cool. I kind of
and then I love my puppy, so I was trying to get my pictures of my puppy.
All right.
Different
What's this guy's name again?
Peach.
Peach.
Yeah.
That
So
guy looks cute, but he'll bite you. Look out.
also I had a friend that was kind of curious to do like this type of style, this like psychedelic style, and I was doing it from scratch, and I could not get it right. So and I was failing miserable. So you can see here how I was trying to do the psychedelic. So Midjourney also has it's called describe. So like if you give it a picture, and then it would generate text out of it. So I mean, it depends how do you want to see it. Do you want to see it ethical or not? But essentially, it generates a description of the picture, and then I can use this, right, because it's reverse engineer. I can use this prompt, and then it started generating better content, or like something similar to what I was looking for. So and then I start manipulating the prompts into, I wanted more like the winter and etc. But this is things that you can do. So here's an example. I give it like a coffee, like the cherries, and then it describes it. And then I can just be like, hey, imagine all, and then it starts producing similar images based on the context. Let me go back to the blending. So remember, I gave it a bag in my logo, and then it created. It's not very good at blending it because it should have put my logo in the bag. But this is examples of how I utilize it.
That's pretty cool. That is really cool.
So this
What a
is
cool idea.
you guys.
filled
You guys are
space.
getting a snapshot of my coffee shop. So I kind of wanted to know what the model would, how would it would describe my coffee shop. So I drew some of the pictures, and then it describes the shop for me. And it's kind of nice because I am not a very descriptive person. I'm way more mathematical than or logical than artistic. So it kind of gave me an ideas of how to describe my shop. So whenever
Oh, wait, I didn't realize it. It will create language based on an image for a description.
yeah.
Whoa, I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah. So then now that it has this nice descriptions, and I can use this description for myself.
Wow.
Yeah, here's blending again. I was trying to make my coffee shop like I wanted to do like a caricature version of my machine. So I was mixing the machine with like anime like pictures, and this is what it was generating.
Wow, that's cool.
And then I think Noah mentioned it, but Midjourney has the capability too now, where if you ask it to do a picture, once you're done with the picture, you can do what is called battery region. So let's say I didn't like the mouse crown, then I can select the crown, and then essentially ask him to recreate the part. Let me go back to this one. So remember, I sent this picture, and it generated 4 distinct prompts, right, or descriptions, and then I click imagine all, and then it generated one for each. So this is one of the pictures.
Oh.
This is the second that it generated, a third, and then the fourth one.
That's amazing. This is so capable. It's unbelievable.
So here, sorry, it's the last one. Then so remember, this was the original picture, and then I just took that little piece, and then I was like, oh, let me change the ground, and then boom, it did this new. It generated 4 different ones. It kept the chipmunk, but it generated different crowns on that same chipmunk.
Yeah, that's wild. I would like to do. I like that we get to use, like, get the chance to use it. I'm like a, learning through failure type of person. So I was thinking either Roy or maybe Mark or somebody will come up with a prompt, and let's run it through again. So maybe like Roy, if you want to do a piece of furniture.
Can I show you what I already did?
Yeah.
Take over.
Go for it. Pretty cool,
Sorry, it's asking me questions I don't recognize. Yes. Okay. Sorry, just new format, so I wasn't familiar with it.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
Can you guys see what I'm sharing?
Wow.
So this isn't exactly what I wanted. If I were going to jump into a kiddo's work, I was trying to get something like this. And I hope that the kid has their full-size drawing, or else this will just be on the spot and flop. But I was trying to get a certain style that one of my students is working on, and just trying to put in the level of vocabulary they would have.
Are you on a different page? I'm not sure.
No, I was trying to show you what I was trying to get, but I guess I can go back to this. So what I put is walnut style and rail constructed end table that's supposed to be in this style that's very Southern California. It's called Spanish Colonial Revival. In our neck of the woods, lots of houses have Spanish tile roofs, and this is why. So that's that like red round radius stacked roof. That would be it's like a white building. It looks like a California mission. So that's what I was trying to get, but I was trying to get it with a certain construction process. So instead of doing these square post legs, more something that's like a frame that you would join together, which is the construction method that we do. And then instead of doing Spanish colonial, I just changed to a style that would have maybe less square post legs. So you can see that these are rectangular legs instead of being square posts. I guess those are still kind of square posts, but I don't know. That's what I was doing. So I was kind of like following along with what you guys were doing. And then there was a name of a furniture maker that kind of did what I wanted. And when I put that in, it went to left field. So yeah. I don't think this is really cool. It's really powerful and very fast, right? So like if I wanted kids to understand something very quickly, I could do this, but I think it would be better if they, the lesson I was trying to come up with was like you find something that you like, you don't know why you like it. I give you the vocabulary of what it is, and then you search for more of that. And then once you have that list of words, you throw it into the Leonardo or the other image generator, and maybe you can get something that I wouldn't be able to show you because I don't know about it.
Wild, super wild. I mean, what a cool program, and it's pretty straightforward as far as like what to do, but tweaking it clearly, everyone's sort of figuring out how to tweak this stuff. I think Noah entered in a request from Damien, and the request was bedside table, single drawer in the style of Sam Malouf. I don't know if I said that right, but there you go. How did it go, Damien? What do you think?
I didn't enter that one in. Sorry, I was just messing around with stuff. I'll enter that in now.
Okay.
I was doing because when basically the inspired by like George Nelson, like the furniture, it is funny. Like it turns, it's pretty impressive. You can see on this one, there's a little bit of a mistake there, but other than that, it's pretty crazy. These would be good enough to sell. Like these pictures would be good enough to sell on a website. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like somebody could list some of these chairs, and you would think that that's real.
Dude, when I showed this to my students, who you always think the students are like ahead of the curve, but they're not. Not all of them. And I showed those images I showed earlier of the trailers, and my student who's running that project, because I have like project leaders and stuff, he was like, "Where's that trailer?" And I was like, "This is not real. I did this like with words." And he was like, "Really?" I was like, "Dude, just change the words and it changes the trailer." He couldn't believe it. So like, I understand, like a trained eye would pick this out and be like, "That's AI," but not necessarily. It's pretty amazing. And look, it's bedside table and it's literally next to the bedside. You know, like you never know how this thing's going to interpret it. Damien, how did it do? Is that what you were looking for? Is Damien there?
He was so shocked he fell over.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the unmute.
Oh,
My
no
mouse
problem.
wasn't moving. Yeah,
I
well,
was gonna. Oh, okay.
the thin leg style, and it's interesting that they all have more than one drawer when we've said single drawer, but it's definitely a way to start getting some ideas if you have a designer in mind, rather
pretty
than just
cool.
looking at Sam Olive stuff and then going, "Oh, I want to try and design something like that."
Yeah, to answer Roy's question or whatever, I think it's like $15 a month and you get 8,000 tokens. And I've just been cranking out images like, I guess it's 24 tokens to generate something. The difference in like I don't know if they do it on the like the subscription version is like the photo reel, which I was impressed. I don't know if you remember, Ron, when we were trying to make images for when y'all went to Taylorville. On that other program, like faces were all distorted and everything, and we couldn't use any of that. On this program, it can generate insanely realistic like faces, some details that are just ultra. It's impressive.
No, if you go to you get to see everyone else's stuff if they make it public, right?
Yeah.
That is like the hotbed right there. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is customers' input.
Like some of the stuff like this, anyways, there's some really super cool images on here.
I guess these are like popular or people clicked on them or something like that. Like,
yeah, but you can click on, here's this. It's like you click on the photo reel, like you can see like these things.
Look at the astronaut one. That's insane. Oh my, what the hell? It's crazy looking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at the croissants. Those look like you can, dude, that looks like a real croissant. That's insane. This is totally.
Then again, they could have just pulled a picture that was a real croissant.
Yeah. That's funny. The car stuff's cool. I've been watching a lot of Instagram with the car stuff. You know, it's funny. Geez, it really makes like the artist who sits there and toils away at night doing these, illustrations. Like, it kind of makes them obsolete. I mean, unless they do something super unique. Look at this Captain America. That's hilarious. I don't know. He might be headed in that direction. It's crazy. He'll be flying in outer space before he runs for president or anything. Oh wow, look at this strawberry cake thing. That looks delicious, actually. Wow. Oh my god. Craziness. So let's get some more prompts in there. I feel like I want Mark Willie to give me a prompt. What do you want designs, man? We got to tap into that Mark Willie brain. Come on. Oh, unmute yourself. Throw it in the chat here or something.
How about just to be topical, build a logo for Build Science 101 educational series.
Perfect.
Okay.
Noah's got this.
I swear this thing's not great at logos though. Build a logo for
Build Science.
Sorry, I can't.
Build Science educational series.
I hate typing in front of people because it's almost like public speaking. I'm like, y'all are going to learn how bad of a speller I am.
Oh, that happens to me too. You're in the right crowd. We know what your specialty is, man. You're building houses. That's pretty impressive.
This probably won't create a good logo, but it would be on a different model. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I just like seeing what happens because it kind of gives you some ideas and whatnot. And then before we run out of time, Duke, you got to throw something in the thing here.
Like, same
Oh
thing.
wow, that's actually not bad,
Pretty cool.
dude.
Yeah.
I like the second
Something
one.
like that. You say this one?
Yeah, I don't know why I think that's cool.
It is cool. It's like they call that what do they call this, like Cold War era
Yeah,
neon, right? And like
Steampunk.
steampunk. That's it. Yeah. I was thinking something
Oh,
punk.
dude. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, try that. No, in the theme of steampunk.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Put the number 101 after science.
Oh, okay. Good call.
Yeah. Oh, and Peter, come on. Throw in a prompt. Come on. I feel like come on. We got to get some creativity going. I feel like Peter's coming from another angle, you know. He's got that northern the northern angle. So
Great overlooked perspective.
He's got the power of the portage.
You know what the funny thing is? This is like when I talk to my kids, and it's like we go in the grocery store and you can have whatever treat you want, and they're like, can I get a gumball? And you're like, you can have anything. You can have anything.
wow, that's amazing looking.
That's wild.
I'm taking screenshots of this so it counts as work.
There you go.
Now what's with the words misspelled?
I think it has to do with like copyright stuff like that.
No, it doesn't know what words are.
It doesn't know what. Yeah, it doesn't know what words are.
Yeah, it's image generation. It's just
So if
copying
you
images that it sees, and it knows it's saying, "Oh, look, this is an image. There's shapes in that image, and some of those shapes we recognize as letters, but it doesn't know that. It doesn't know what it's spelling. It just says, I'm going to make some shapes that kind of look like it."
Yeah.
Don't worry, Duke. A year from now, you won't even have to talk. It'll just follow your blink.
All right, let's get one from Peter, one from Duke, and then we'll probably start to wrap this up. Angie, I think, has access to this, so if she wants to
Thank
run,
you, Noah.
throw one in, she can. Let's see. Okay, Bloomquist, thanks a lot, man. This is cool.
Hey,
Yeah,
Matt.
See you,
We'll
Matt.
see you, buddy.
This is awesome. I'm out, but this is I'm gonna be. I'm gonna mess with this for sure.
Cool. All right, man.
All right.
Thanks for joining
See
in.
you guys.
Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Let's see. Duke, you got to give us something.
see, like I'm looking for a logo that's just like black and white clip art, like a coloring book image that maybe I would put on the laser engraver. Like here, there's too many shadows to like use this for class, but that would be something that I'd want the kids to
You can modify it. You could say make this two colors. Like Angie could probably help with this. Make it two colors. Make it printable. You know, all these like tech words. I don't know, but you could totally change it.
So like everyone, they probably on this thing, they probably downloaded it for their phone. So here's the first one, but see, there's so much detail in that. Like it may come out, but you want, like Angie said, like a flat image.
Okay.
Request
It'd be
line art.
interesting.
Yeah, there you go. Line art. There you go.
See, line art, that would be one of the models, but I just don't know, or probably I wouldn't know which one that is.
Like I asked for like, things that I teach. Flat, simple black and white clip art image that includes a geared table saw blade and a robotic arm. And then it went crazy.
Oh yeah, look at this. It's like a kid working in a workshop or something.
And Luke, like our school district is big on Canva. So as you go through the apps in your phone, like the third or fourth one down, suggest Canva. Have you used Canva for any of this stuff?
I use Canva.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I love Canva. Do you do Duke for like the students to create stuff for like the laser engraver?
Yeah, that's what we're using right now, but they're just like gathering images from the internet. But I want to have them do like something like this for the laser engraver.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm trying to figure out, like a project to go along with that. So it'd be cool to see what you come up with.
Nice. Well, I think we could probably wrap this up. I don't know if Evo's still Evo. What do you think? I'm gonna guess Evo's watching us and he's like, man, you guys are scratching the surface. Evo, what do you think, man?
Oh, image generation, I just use it for my specific use cases, but some of the stuff that Noah show that they're way better than the things I've done.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
So Noah's doing
but
something.
but yeah, but with ChatGPT, I think I put it in the chat. If you guys wanna do a one-on-one like tutorial, or you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out, because ChatGPT, yeah, that I think that you guys probably just touched the surface today.
Yeah, we're gonna do another episode like this. This will be part one because it seems like there's a lot of interest. I think that it's new, even though it's like not new really, but it's new to us. I think there's a lot. It's a tool. It's another tool. It's like, imagine if you're talking about 3D printers, 15 years ago or whatever. People would be like, well, what are you going to do here? What are you going to do there? It's funny. Even with 3D printers, there's still something to learn. Just as an example, to give you an example, I went to a 3D printing industry expo in New York City, and one of the things they mentioned was it's not just that it's rapid prototyping, it's that it's going to make undercuts, and so it's the only way you could make an undercut shape and get away with it. So it's not it's something you can make these shapes. It's not that you're making them fast. Oh, you made them fast, big deal. Well, if you do injection molding, that thing's way faster than a 3D printer. But it's that you can make these undercut shapes that you could not normally do, organic shapes, not normally do with, with like with regular print, with injection molding. So same thing with ChatGPT. Same thing with image generation, Midjourney, Leonardo. It's that it's not just, oh, I have an image. There's probably some advantage that you normally can't do with something else. And it's probably the iterations, the speed of iteration. I don't know. So we're just getting the surface here. I think Damien, we blew his freaking mind here. Yeah, man, this was cool. And what really got me going in the beginning, the first thing was when Elda clicked on the code, cut and paste it into ChatGPT, and it said explain it, and it explained the code. I'm like, I would have dove into code a lot earlier if it was that quick. It's unbelievable, and I didn't know you could do reverse, where you could have the image turn into a prompt or into a description. So Evo, that was really good. And I know these are just layman's, but that's what we need. We need to just discuss it. Shop Class Podcast, that's what we do. We share ideas, practical learning techniques. So pretty cool. Anything anybody wants to add before we wrap it up? We are definitely going to do a part 2. So, maybe next week we're probably going to do a pre maker camp. But anybody want to add anything before we get going? All right. Don't all jump at once. No, just okay. Well, it's late, so we'll just wrap it up. In the recording there, Shop Class Podcast. I really appreciate everybody jumping in. We got 3 countries here right now. That's pretty cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot. And Noah, thanks for having all that ready. Shop Class Podcast. All right. I'm going to end the recording now.